guys, I'm Cory Oliver. Thanks for watching the Coriolis Effect. Please hit the subscribe button below, and we hope you like this episode. Hi guys, it's Cory Oliver with the Coriolis Effect, and today I want to talk a little bit about one of our sponsors, flightsport.com. We feel blessed enough to have this company as one of our sponsors. They're a great company. They're faith-based. It's flightsport.com. They have many supplements. They have t-shirts. They have clothing, but these are some of my favorite products that I've been using for almost a year. I started using them during COVID, and I'm taking them still. This is the Super Greens, which is yummy, Bob. It's yummy.
Try it right now.
I'm going to take it right now.
Okay.
You take literally a capful, and it tastes great, and you're getting your daily supplement of greens, and it's so good. Your body craves it, oddly enough. Yes. Like I drink mine after my meal in the morning. And I feel so good. Wow, you're just getting a ton of stuff. All your reds. Beetroot juice, blueberry extract, papaya, fruit jack, organic raspberry leaf. Raspberry is very good for you.
As are
all of the other things.
Ingredients.
Sour cherry fruit, which just kind of tastes like that. Cranberry, it's good for your kidneys. Cranberry fruit juice. Elderberry, that's excellent for your immune system. Pomegranate. It's just filled. It's packed with a punch, a Reds punch. So I can't say enough about this. This will give you a little bit of energy, and you're getting your Reds in it. I highly recommend flightsport.com all in one swoop. I mean, that was like, took me less than a minute to get all the good stuff.
And that's once a day?
And once a day, yeah. And they've got a lot of different products. So I encourage you to just visit their site and check them out. And they're wonderful people.
And how would they find them?
They're at flightsport.com. I'm tongue-tied, so flightsport.com.
Today's episode is brought to you by Aqua 9 Plus all-natural ionic mineral alkaline drinking water. Aqua 9 Plus is one of the first and only all-natural ionic mineral bottled drinking waters in the world. It has one of the highest and most stable pH of any bottled water on the market, with a pH ranging from 9.5 to 10. And I gotta tell you, besides tasting great, high alkaline water has so many positive health benefits. It increases your endurance, it deactivates pepsin in the body, which helps reduce the occurrences of upset stomachs. It neutralizes pesticides and fungicides on produce. It increases oxygen delivery throughout the body, and it helps reduce heartburn and indigestion. When you consider that coffee can have a pH as low as 2, which is very acidic, that pH can be neutralized by using high pH water. And a medical study has suggested that alkaline ionized water may have benefits for people with high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol. You can go to aqua9plus.com. That's AQUANINEPLUS.com to find the nearest store that sells Aqua 9 Plus all-natural ionic mineral alkaline drinking water. They also sell a home water system which produces purified ionic mineral 9.5 plus pH drinking water naturally directly in your home without the use of electricity.
And you
wow,
can also
that's cool.
Yeah, and you can also find filling stations at local grocery stores. If you go to their website, aqua9plus.com, they'll tell you where the nearest filling station is near you. So you go there with a 5-gallon jug or a 2-gallon jug, pay your money, and it fills it up, and it lasts for a couple of weeks.
There's actually one at Air One. There's all the Air Ones. It's a great water. It's really great water. It actually tastes great. We are grateful to have them on the show and supporting us.
Yes.
But I also love their water.
No, their water tastes great. All right, let's start the show.
Yes. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Cory.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and I noticed that there was the most beautiful bouquet of flowers on the kitchen island. They are so beautiful. They're actually my favorite flowers, peony roses.
Yes.
And the color.
Yes. They were given to my wife by another man.
I'm sorry?
That's exactly what I said.
What?
So we talked about it before, but March 8th was International Women's Day.
Yes.
And my wife is a very good friend, Julia. They grew up together in Ukraine. And she's dating this guy named Noro. And Noro gave his girlfriend Julia roses, but also gave Julia's mother roses and Irina roses.
Noro.
And my point is, should you give a married woman roses if you're not the husband of the married woman?
Well, they're peony roses, and to his defense, they are not red. They're like a peach color.
It was a trick question. The answer is no.
Oh, sorry. So. I'm going to go with Irina.
You always go with Irina.
I do.
I don't know. And look, you can be jealous all you want, or I can be jealous all you want. I don't think a guy should give another woman roses if they're not in a romantic relationship. Flowers, yeah, you want to give her a tulip or something like that, but not roses. Because
Okay.
roses are
Okay, fair
romantic.
enough.
Yes.
These are peony roses.
I
Didn't
don't-
know they even existed. They're so beautiful. I love peonies. Those are my favorite flowers, but I didn't know that they actually married the two and they have peony roses.
Fascinating.
Excuse me.
And then she has to put those in the kitchen, and the ones I
On the
got
island.
are like off in her office, which you can't see then.
I know, I love it.
And in
was
her
cute.
defense, she says, "Well, I'm at my desk more than I'm in the kitchen, so I see her." Okay,
That is true. She
Okay.
is at a desk. So I'm going to go with Irina.
of course you are. Before we get going, let's do the word of the day,
Word of the day.
and this one is particularly for you:
Verminophobia.
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 Fear of mice. Vermin.
Close. No,
Thank you. Could have.
fear of germs.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Now, why wouldn't that be just call it germophobia?
I don't know. I think, what is germophobia?
I think it's the same thing, but I assume these are all Latin names, and that's why they're so long. and stuff,
probably. Yeah, you're right.
but let's
Well-
keep using the dead language.
That's a good one. And it's true. I am a little bit of a germaphobe, or verminophobia.
My father
Eh.
is an amazing germophobic. He, I remember going into the kitchen when I was a teenager, and he was, skinning a carrot, and he dropped the carrot on the floor. He picked it up, opened the trash can, and threw it out. What are you doing? He said, it fell on the floor. Dad, they grow in manure. I don't care. Yeah. That, and when my first wife, we came back to Thanksgiving like years and years ago, and my Marilyn at the time was new to the family. She asked my mom, "Can I do anything to help?" My mom said, "Yeah, go make the salad." So Marilyn starts cutting the lettuce. My dad walks over and says, "What are you doing?" She says, "I'm making the salad." He goes, "Okay, I won't have any." Walks away. And Marilyn looks at my mom and I, and in unison, my mom and I say to her, the lettuce touched the counter. He won't eat it.
Oh, my gosh.
So, you know the spaghetti strainers?
Yes.
Somebody has to hold that above the sink so
Wow.
it doesn't touch the sink.
Wow.
And somebody else has to pour hot water over their hands into the...
Wow, that's taken it to a whole
Yeah,
other
it's,
level, although I
yeah.
have my own little isms. But today is kind of a very special show. We've gotten tons of response in the last 30 days that we've been on the, shouldn't say on the air, but on our podcast and our
Yes.
YouTube channel.
It's on the air. It's on air.
We've had a lot of people write in and ask questions, and so we're going to answer some of those questions today.
Okay.
And hopefully we will, answer some of those questions. And one of the main questions that I have received is, okay, Bob is on the show, but we haven't seen his face. And so
Nor will we ever.
Benjamin from Australia actually said, who is Bob and why is he not on camera?
Are you asking me that?
No, I'm actually just telling you that's what he said.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Well, you can tell him who I am, but I am
So-
not... Go ahead.
I know. Bob is our producer, and he is the genius
Well,
behind it all.
well, since you
No,
said it.
I'm just kidding. He is our producer, and he does have an opinion, and he likes to just stay off camera. But I'm not. I'm willing to share my camera time with him. He just doesn't want to be on camera.
Okay, now I'm going to tell the true story to the world.
Oh.
We're filming this, and the way it's set up is I'm on one side, Cory's on the other side, and I only have 3 cameras, and Cory required all 3 cameras to be on her. So she said, when you buy a 4th camera, then you can be on camera.
That is
So I'm
not
saving
true.
up. Oh, please donate as much as you can. Watch this. Watch our commercials so I can get as much money as I can to buy a 4th camera. It doesn't have to be an expensive camera. It's just some kind of video camera.
Oh. Okay, hang on. I'll give you the money. I'll buy you a camera.
Hey,
Oh.
lady, don't call my bluff.
See?
No.
So Benjamin in Australia.
Bob is in the witness protection program.
Oh,
And
gosh.
no.
This is just growing a nose, isn't it? This is just getting
All right,
Pinocchio.
you want the truth? I'm going to use myself in the third person, but I have no aspirations of being an actor. I have no desire to be in front of the camera.
But we're not acting. We're actually just having a conversation.
I don't like the way I look on camera. If you go around the house, you'll see pictures of my kids, and already you'll see
This
very
is true.
few, if any, pictures of me.
This is true.
When
Okay,
I
so fair
play out in a
enough.
band, we wear costumes, so I have a wig and glasses, and I never consider myself to be photogenic.
I actually have a good idea. Why don't we just put it out there? This just came to me. That when we get 1 million subscribers, you will get on.
Okay.
You'll get on. You'll come on camera. You'll be on camera.
At 1 million subscribers, I will set up another camera in the corner, and you can see my little desk here with all my gadgets and gizmos
Sounds
and stuff.
good. Incentive. Well,
Yes.
thank you, Benjamin, for writing in all the way from Australia. We love you.
Now I have one.
Okay.
Maria from Des Moines, Iowa, or Des Moines, Iowa, says to Cory, why acting? What made you want to be an actress and follow that path in your life?
That's a really good question. When I was younger, I would really literally sit in the living room with my hairbrush, and I would sing into my hairbrush, just random songs. And I always wanted to perform. I was teased horribly as a kid, and people say to me, "Why would you go into a profession where you're so vulnerable and you're in front of the camera if you were teased?" And I honestly don't know that answer. I love the process that you go through to share a character. I love
To portray the character?
To share. I say share because you're sharing your heart,
Okay.
but to portray a character, and it's if you can make someone laugh or cry or bring them to an emotion, there's something about that. There's something about nailing a scene. It wasn't for notoriety or all the other things that go along with it. It was really more the work of it. And I have obviously it's not a secret that I'm dyslexic and challenged in that area. But people oftentimes think that, oh, you're dyslexic or you have a disability, so you must be stupid.
No, it's a learning disorder.
It's a learning disorder, and nobody knew what it was back then. And so this profession helped me fine tune it and help me, get skills to work through it. I still have a little bit of it, but there's many reasons, I guess. It's a good question. I just love the art of it.
Do you like being on camera?
I don't like watching anything of mine. It's funny because I identify with Michelle Pfeiffer. She says I do a project and I never watch it.
Really?
I don't really watch my stuff. No, you just do it. You hope you did a great job, and then you move forward. No, I got teased as a kid. I see.
Wait,
when I see myself,
do you watch the show?
I have to. You make me watch all the episodes to make sure. But I when I watch something back of myself, I see what those kids said about me. Oddly enough,
That's
weird.
Very interesting because I play a lot of music in a lot of bands, and there are some people. And my theory about playing music is, I hate rehearsing. If you know your stuff, you show up, you do the show, you move on, and you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Now, what people in the audience who don't play music don't realize is that actually, a lot of musicians don't realize the audience hears 1 out of 10 mistakes. You hear them all because you know you made a mistake. But if I make a mistake and hit an errant note, well, I'm playing the keyboards. I've got a guitar, I've got a bass guitar, I've got a drums and a singer. Sometimes you don't even hear mine unless I'm by myself.
Yeah.
So the audience very rarely hears it, but I can pick it out because I know what I'm listening for. So I've had people in bands where they videotape or audio tape every show, and then they go listen to it. And they're like, well, I want to know where I made a mistake. No, just, first of all.
You'll just pick yourself apart.
Yes, and it's a 3-hour show, and I got to spend another 3 hours listening to the show I just did. And more importantly, it upsets me if I make a mistake, then I don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
Just get out. And I know I am not one of the world's greatest singers. I'm one of the world's worst singers. But when there's an audience there and a couple hundred people and you're into it, you've had a few to drink and everybody's singing, I'll sing at the top of my lungs. And I'll think, okay, great. And everybody's a great time. If I go back and listen to it and realize how bad it sounded, I'll never get into the mic again. So
Yeah.
I hate watching myself in anything.
But there were movies when I was a kid that, I would watch and I'd go, oh my gosh, and it made me feel a certain way. And I think that's why I wanted to get into it, is because it just made I want to make people feel that way, And through it, I mean, I would not tell anybody if you have thin skin to enter into this business, because it's made me get a thick skin. The first 100 auditions that you get turned down because you're, to this or to that can be damaging to one's soul. But, you really just kind of say, okay, well.
And you know what? That's also a very hard thing to do if you're the director or producer. I don't know if I could sit in a room with somebody pouring their heart and go, next. You want to say, okay, maybe not. And it's very hard in front of somebody to just go next. So they have to develop a very tough personality where they go, and the guys are looking at you, he goes, you look 35, we're looking for a 32-year-old. Or you're blonde, we're looking for brunette. Or, with that nose, you can't be in my movie, something like that. And I know of actors who have tried to portray themselves in movies, and directors go, "You're just not the right look."
Yeah.
I mean, that we made a joke about.
Yeah.
I think Andrew Carter saying, "Well, you're not you." There are people who weren't them, and they said the show's about my life. Yeah, you're just not the right look for you.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, you're up.
Okay, I have Elizabeth from Washington. She says, Bob,
Yes.
I think she has kind of a crush on you. Because she asks
Washington State or Washington D.C. I want to know how far I have to go.
state.
Oh, well, that's closer.
She says this is another question for me. She asked me how I would describe you physically.
Ah,
Since we can't see you,
that's right.
how would I describe you physically?
The problem is, and why I'm not on camera.
This is a great question.
The other reason I don't go on camera is because every time I go on camera, they go, "Well, that's Brad Pitt." I mean, why would we ever seen him?
Editing that out. Let me see. Who do you look like? I'm going to try to give you a really good description, Elizabeth. I would say you actually, you know what? I'm going to say this is okay. You're welcome. I would say he looks a little bit like Mel Gibson.
No, he doesn't.
Okay, you can't do that. I'm trying to give you props.
No, he doesn't. No, but I'll tell you who I do look like. There's two people I've been compared with. When I was younger, Jonathan Silverman.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's
And then not recently, but it was Steve Carell.
Yes.
Right. And
yes.
that is a curse to me because I was 40 years old when that movie came out.
Yes. You know what? You are an identical Steve Carell.
And everybody I played hockey with loved that movie, and then they just looked at me, and I was the 40-year-old virgin for 10 years on that hockey team. Here's my Steve Carell story. I was flying back from New York to Los Angeles, and Steve Carell was on the plane. I didn't know that. He was on first class. I was by the tail of the plane. So I had no idea he was on the plane. We get off in LA. If anybody knows LA, you go from the third floor to the first floor. These escalators are like 20 or 300 steps long, and they go off right by a bathroom. And I see about 10 or 15 reporters there with cameras. That's odd. But I had to use the restroom, so I go in the restroom, and there's a guy there. And I said, there's a cameraman out there. And he said, yeah, they're waiting for Mr. Carell. He's in one of the stalls. I said, all right. And the guy said, hey, he said, would you do me a favor? I said, yeah. He said, would you take Mr. Carell's jacket and just lead them away? I said, okay. So I put on his jacket and I go out, I cover my face and I run down the hall and they chase me. And then about 100 feet later, I turn around, I go, what's going on? And they all realize it's not him. So they go back. The guy comes out, takes the jacket, thanks you very much. I've never met Steve Carell. I've never talked to him. I was his double for 30 seconds in life.
You're his doppelganger.
Yeah.
Wow, that is interesting. Well, Elizabeth, there you go.
No, not a thank you card from him. No.
Nothing.
Which Steve Carell's a great guy. And great actor. But
yeah, he is. He's not a bad one. He's a good looking guy.
Oh,
but all right.
Yeah. Okay, Mike from Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's pretty specific.
Oklahoma women.
To Cory, have you ever seriously questioned your faith?
I have not. I have not ever seriously questioned my faith. I have at times been, I don't know, I've always just believed. I've said this a million times. I've always just believed in God and Jesus and my own personal, the way I was raised. I have not questioned it, but there have been a lot of times where I have been really angry or upset because I'm wondering, what is going on? Where are you? And God's probably like, oh yeah, that Hannah just happened because of the choice you just made.
That's questioning his plan.
Right. And I've
Have you ever questioned his existence?
No.
Since what age?
Since I could breathe. Since I could remember.
Okay.
So unless there was a time before that I questioned and I'm not consciously aware of, no, I haven't. I know. And I have this conversation with a lot of people, and some family members, but I have not. And I know that it's called blind faith for a reason.
Right.
And I haven't. And yeah, no, I haven't. I know. I'm actually going to cry because I don't know why. I really have not.
Are you telling me I should?
No, not at all.
No, I have not. I'm grateful I haven't.
It's a tough thing because I have, and I watch an inordinate amount of science videos and about the universe and how it was created and all the new theories that are coming up and the 11 dimensions that they're theorizing exist and everything else. And it comes to a time where you say to yourself, look, every physical fact that you can measure and observe would point to the fact that there is no deity. And if you grew up without religion, if somebody didn't ingrain you and make you go to church and all that, and you just, grew up and said, okay, you wouldn't automatically come up with there's a God in heaven. And that has to be taught to you by somebody else. But no matter where I go back, there's always a part of my brain goes, well, of course there's a God. I talk to him every day. And I'm thinking,
that's not science.
Well, no, it's not. And it's not, I don't want to use the word brainwash, but I was taught this by my parents, and I went to 4 years of a Catholic school and 2 years of a Jesuit college, and then 2 years to a non-Jesuit college, and then all through law school and stuff. And the law school I went to was Pepperdine, so that was pretty faith-based. But you say to yourself, have I been conditioned to believe this, where there's nothing anyone can show me that's going to get rid of that voice in the back of my head? Well, says, of course there's a God. Who are you talking to if it's not him?
Well,
But my definition of God has changed over time. And my biggest problem is everybody, the people who are the creationists and believe the Bible happened exactly the way it's written, okay, that's fine for you. I don't subscribe to that. It's just, I don't think to this day anybody has been able to define who or what God is. You can't use what they wrote 2,000 years ago because their knowledge of the universe was so small back then. They just don't know.
Or was it?
Okay, so they had no idea that the lights in the sky were stars millions of light years away. So if there is a God, he must be a God to all creation. Now you're talking about 100 billion galaxies in this universe. No, I'm sorry, 100 billion stars in this galaxy, 100 billion galaxies around. So you're talking about, quintillions of stars.
Mm-hmm.
He has to be the God to that.
So you do believe in God?
Yeah, I believe that there is something else because I cannot.
When you say something else, what is God?
Well, it all depends on what you define God as. God could be the universe. God, and I don't mean the fact that there's a million stars. The fact that there is a conscious being or a consciousness that kind of puts everything together. Because if you get to the science, if gravity, the force of gravity is only slightly off, we don't have a universe. Because the planets would be so far away, everything would be, so many things have to be so particular. And I'll give you one other thing. There's only one substance on this planet that gets bigger when it gets colder, when it freezes, and smaller when it's hot, and that's water. Everything else is the opposite. And a scientist, I watched an interview from him, said, without that particular fact, there's no life on Earth. And he gave me the explanation, I don't remember now, but so there's so many things that have to get just right for there to be life. And you can say, well, yeah, there's a million planets and this one happened to get right, but I don't know. So I know there's something else out there. Then there's always the question in the back of my mind, okay, what if God is the God of this planet and there are other, like God's brother, or there's another God for other planets, and he is one of many gods, but controls this solar system, this planet, this universe, or this galaxy, or whatever. We're never going to come to the answer to that until we pass on. And my biggest thing is I cannot fathom the thought that my mind won't continue on. So, you go to sleep, you wake up, you don't remember much of your dreams, but I can't imagine a time where my brain or my consciousness doesn't think. So
who said it doesn't think when you're in heaven?
That's what I'm saying. So if my body dies,
Gotcha.
I believe my consciousness will live on somehow.
Gotcha.
And whether it's you join the collective consciousness or you're reborn or whatever, because always remember that our faith has about 440 million followers. Well, there's 7.5 billion people on the planet, so we're less than 10% is Catholic. You've got over 1 billion people in India who believe in reincarnation. Well, who's to say they're wrong? We just think ours is right.
I'm not saying that it is not. I don't. But I've said jokingly that if if it is, I'd like to come back as my best friend's bunnies because they're very well taken care of.
My father's comment was, he says, in my next life, I want to come back with the son. I want to come back just like you, but have a father just like me.
Oh gosh, that's funny. Okay, well, did that answer your question?
It did.
Okay. And
And
thank you for your input on that as well, Bob.
All right, hang on
I
a second.
think your
There's somebody
dog is
scratching at the
knocking.
door. Come on in. Come on, let's go. Get in. The dog wants to come in.
Oh, well, that's so funny that the dog actually knocks at the same time that I'm going to ask this question because Greg from, I can't read this. Oh, it's Dublin.
Oh.
Huh. Dublin, Ireland, not Dublin up north.
Is there a Dublin in the United States?
Is
there a Dublin in the United States?
Yeah.
Where?
Dublin and Pleasanton up north.
Oh, in California?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Asked about the dog. What kind of dog is Tink? We've said
Tinks. You keep saying Tink. It's Tinks. T-I-N-X.
Tinks. I said Tinks.
Tinks is a cross
Love you, Bob.
between a Chihuahua
Ah.
and a German Shepherd. So she has
my
got
gosh.
the body of a German Shepherd and the look of a German Shepherd, but she's a lot of Chihuahua because she shakes in 80-degree weather, and she's definitely...
She really is the sweetest.
She is.
She's our little mascot, and she sits in with us on every show. And
with Bert's dog food, she's going to live twice as long as normal dogs.
That's right. Gentle Giants dog food. Well, thank you, Greg, for that question from Dublin, Ireland. Ireland.
Sanjin from Japan.
Oh.
By the way, our podcast is really hitting it in Japan.
I know. We've had now all these different...
Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
He says to Cory, do you miss being married?
You have to take me down, don't you?
Go talk to Sanjin.
Honestly, do I miss being married? That's a whole other show that we're going to do on marriage and divorce, that we are preparing currently for. So Sanjin, thank you for that question. Do I miss being married? I can't say that. I think I missed the opportunity to have a family unit. When I was married, it was not my decision to get divorced. So I never got the opportunity to fight for it. I don't miss the how do I say this? I'm trying to gingerly talk about this because I don't want to go negative about it.
Right.
I would have loved to have been married to a man that we carried each other. Like, in the episode with Mike San Pedro, he mentions we'll carry each other. That sentence took me down mainly because I've never had that. And what a concept. In a marriage, you are supposed to carry each other. You're supposed to take care of each other, right? And in doing so, you do carry each other in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, till death do you part. And so what I miss is not being able to fulfill the covenant that I took with God. I feel like I let God down, even though I didn't have a choice in whether or not I got to stay married. And so I guess I just missed the family unit. And I actually miss, even though I didn't have it, I miss the chance to actually fight for it. I've been married twice and both of my husbands left without a explanation. And so that was difficult.
Okay, but my theory is if you have to fight for the marriage, it's not worth it.
Well, I think differently than you. I think that I think some things are, and look, trust me when I say, looking back, I know God plucked me out and saved me from more heartache. And I'm grateful. But, I believe in the institution of marriage. I think two people can have a great life together and work at it. It's not easy. I know that. I have a lot of friends that have been married. I have a lot of friends that have been divorced. And so I don't want to speak any ill over the institution of marriage. I think it's a beautiful thing shared between two people. But when you take those vows and you take them seriously and you speak them before yourself and God and your family and friends, and then it's literally just kind of ripped from you, you go, oh, wait a minute. I was the only one in that situation
that actually felt
right.
them,
And that's
right?
right.
So I missed that part, but I'm okay. I'm good. I'm really happy. That's a great question, though. I mean,
Well,
I guess
and the
I've
other-
mentioned it a couple times, so thanks for listening.
The other question I had with this was, say you married a billionaire where money was never an option. Do you think you'd still be acting, or would you have thrown yourself into homemaking, charity work, and everything else?
I would, I'm old school. I would do whatever my husband asked me to do. That's just, I mean, when I married my first husband, he didn't want me doing acting and I didn't. I had a child and I love to work. I would always work. Like I don't want to like just, be taken care of. That's not my style. I don't want to do that. I would work. But if he didn't like what I was doing, then,
Yeah, see, what I would have seen is that you would become, you would definitely do charity work, but you'd be one of those socialites who would do charity and really not get into the real world.
I'm not a socialite though, and nothing against them. I would probably give it all away. Honestly.
Right.
I would be able to do, I drive on Wilshire Boulevard now and I see all the veterans out front in tents. Like that just like, I don't understand how you can have $1 billion and not do something about something like that. So anyway, yeah, did I answer that good?
Yes, you did.
I mean, mine don't say to Bob. It's just intimated because your name's in it. This is Christopher from, oh, wow. I guess our show is in Japan.
Yeah.
Christopher from
Well, it's
Japan.
international.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you said we've got a lot of two questions. Did you pull these questions?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains it. Was Bob a comedian in another life?
Yes, one that didn't exist.
Okay.
I listen to comedy nonstop. When I go to sleep,
That's funny.
My wife doesn't allow any noise in the house. My wife is as nice as I can say as Irene. She's a princess in the pea. So if there's any sound or any light, she can't sleep. So I put an earpiece in, and I'll usually put on comedy. And it's usually 10 or 15 of the same people going over again. But I have studied comedy my whole life. I've never gotten up and done comedy. I always wanted to, and I used to go down to the Laugh Factory Thursday and Friday, or Wednesday and Thursday nights after hockey. And I get there around 11 o'clock. And my desire to go to a comedy club, I like to be there when there's 10 or 15 people in the audience and the guys or the girls just working their stuff out. And I've got there, and I thought about doing the open mic night, but when you go down to these places, there's 150 people looking for 16 spots, 3 minutes each. So, and I haven't been a writer or paid my dues for 10 years. So there's no way I'd be ever picked to be able to do that. The only way I'd ever be able to do it is if I knew somebody who owned the club and say, go do 5 minutes.
But I could just sit in the audience and you can rip on me.
Yeah, but I do have a good 5 minutes. I do have a good 10 minutes. I've never aired them to anybody. Then no, wow. I'm never going to air them to anybody.
Hang on, hold on 1 second. Just 1 second. What if I'm gonna double down right now. What if on our 1,000,000th we reveal your identity and you do 5 minutes of stand-up?
Maybe. I wouldn't do 5 minutes on the show. I would do 5 minutes in front of an audience and then air that on the show.
Well, Jay Davis, we'll contact Jay. Yeah.
Jay's going to set up his own club. I thought when he said that, I thought about this. Hey,
totally.
maybe I get my 5 minutes. But humor has always been a very good or a very essential part of my life, especially with my parents. But my brand of humor, as you can tell, is more sarcastic. It's more witty. It's more, and if you've never met my parents, but if you ever sit in a room with my parents, it's nothing but good-natured insults going back and forth. Yeah. And that's how we have fun. We all kid because my family has done very well, and we're very big on not letting each other get too big and knock each other down a peg.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. So when somebody comes home like, "Hey, I just did that," they're like, okay, great. We don't take bows in my family.
Yeah.
So it's like you're expected to do very well. You're expected to be smart. And you're also expected to have a thick skin because, in fact, I have a video call with my mother, my aunt, my sister, and one of her sons, my nephew, Jason, every week on Sundays. And I remember last time, it's about an hour call on the portal, the Facebook portal. So we get to see everybody and everything else. And my dad used to be on there, but now he's in a more assisted living, so we really can't talk to him too much.
Mm.
But I think my mom let me have it like 3 times last Sunday, and they were
Love
good
you,
ones. I
Mom.
mean, they were quick and they were good ones, and I'm like, oh, good, yeah.
Hey,
So
can I
we
get
don't
in on
let
that
anybody
call?
get away. Yeah. We don't let anybody get away with anything.
That's cute. Well, that explains it. And, I know a lot of people, they say, hey, Bob said this to you, and I'm going to punch Bob in the face. But I've said it all along. He is a big softie, and he is very, very funny. So that was a really great question.
Well, my theory is, if you can't take it, why are you talking? Because you know I'm going to come at it. And you know what's funny? Last night when I was driving home, we were texting back and forth, or it was during the day or something. And you texted, "Hey, I have an idea." Did you get my response to that?
I don't remember.
Okay, so you said
I did get it.
you texted, say, "I have an idea," and I replied to it immediately. I said, "First one," and then after that, I said,
Yes.
"Did it hurt?"
Yes.
And then I saw you typing something. And then it went away and nothing came through. And now in my mind, I'm like, oh, crap, she thinks I insulted her. She's all upset and everything else.
That's a daily basis.
So, yeah.
On this show. So,
but my family's motto is, get over it, let's go. And I'll tell you the other thing. My family's Italian, so everybody screams and yells at each other. We have tempers. So I remember, again, I brought my first wife home years and years and years ago. And my father and I were at dinner around the kitchen table, and somebody said something to somebody that pissed each other off, and we went at it, screaming at each other for like 5 minutes, just like top of our lungs. Well, F you this, F you that. I would never say it to him, but he says it to me. And I said, well, fine. And we go off different rooms. No less than 5 minutes later, my dad came downstairs to the den, looked at me and said, let's go to a bucket of balls. That's all right.
Yeah.
And Marilyn said, are you guys mad at each other?
Yeah.
And my father looked at her and said, that was 5 minutes ago.
Yes.
Will you hold a grudge?
Yes.
And you should be able to speak your mind to somebody, as long as you're not really hurting them.
Yeah.
Speak your mind, and then, hey, let's go have some fun, get over it.
To that point, I've always taught my daughter that, we can be upset with each other, but we're going to get over this. We're not going to hold it. You can't walk on eggshells and keep it in your belly. And,
right.
Disease is dis-ease.
Yes.
Right? So I agree with that. So next time I offend you, just get over it in 5 minutes, Bob.
Which is why I love Irina so much, because as much as I try to get Irina, she fires back at me, very witty, and very smart. And sometimes I'm like, damn it, I didn't see that one coming.
She is funny, I will say. I'm going to go with Irina.
Always, yeah.
Well, that's a good question.
All right, my turn. Bob from Westlake Village asks.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is your dream job?
Okay, that's a very good question, Bob. I love this question. Honestly,
With that Bob from Westlake, smart, isn't he?
he is really genius. No, because that's a good point. Like, I love every job that I do. I feel like I have a good grasp of blooming where I'm planted. I just enjoy life. Like, I'm kind of like that girl, Amy Adams in Enchanted. It's just right. But if I could, for the rest of my days, travel the world and sing worship music, just be in a band and sing, I'd do that. I'd be so happy. Yes. In a second, I would do it in a second. Now, granted, none of us are traveling the world singing at all because of COVID.
Assuming
but
COVID's over.
I would love to. Maybe, just maybe I could just pull one song together and open up for the Newsboys or something. I don't know.
Okay, so
just a little side
follow
note.
up to that. And I know we're not allowed to ask follow up questions, says the new administration, but that's a little jab.
I got you.
Most singers, bands you see, they've spent 10 years in the 5-person bars, of which I've played many shows like that. So if you traveled the world, would you be okay traveling the world singing in bars where there's 10 people in the audience as opposed to thousands?
I'm gonna go with wherever God takes me. I don't have to have a major audience. I can sing with 5 people if it's doing what God wants me to do.
You okay singing?
Me?
You're in front of 2 people, yeah?
Yeah.
I had a show when I was a kid in college, and we played a Marriott, their ballroom, whatever it is. And it was a bar, and it was, I think, 2 people in the audience. And one was 75, the other was 80, a husband and wife. Now, back in those days, it was 4 sets, 10 to 10:45, 11:45, and all so on, until 2 or 1:45, and they sat for the entire 4 hours.
Wow.
And there was not another person came into that club and we just sat. I guess it's a paid rehearsal, but we played 4 sets for 2 people.
That's actually beautiful. And you know, Tony Robbins, I don't know if you're a Tony Robbins fan, but he talks about before there was social media, how he had to go out and he would post like pictures around the town that he was speaking in, and he'd rent like this ballroom in a hotel, and he'd say, hey, I'm going to be here at a certain time, and he was expecting a lot of people, and like 7 people, and he'd scoot the chairs in, and he's like, we have such a great advantage now because of social media. And so, you know, even though you would be singing to 2 people now, you could put your phone on it and it could go out to your 6,000 or 60,000 or whatever you have on your social media. But honestly, like, that must have been beautiful to have a captive audience of just 2 people. And you know, those 2 people, God bless you for hanging out for 4 hours. That's
which,
amazing.
By the way, is why I loved going to the Comedy Store, because with 10 people in the audience, you have a dialogue back and forth with the comedian.
Yeah.
And there was a woman who was doing her bit, and she's from Philadelphia, and she's going around. She's growing up in Philadelphia, and she looked at me. I said, "Yeah, I grew up in Philadelphia," and we started going back and forth on the stage. Afterwards, we met, and she said, "Come on." We had a drink together. And we hung out the whole night, and then I went home. But it was a great thing, and I like the small shows. I was there once again with 10 or 15 people, and Whitney Cummings came up, Arsenio Hall came up, and Dom Irera came up, and they were all doing their new stuff. So they had no papers and everything else, and that was the best show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing.
That's wonderful.
But I like the smaller audiences. Now, the truth be told, if I'm playing in a band, I'd rather have 1,000 people around because you get more into it and stuff. But you know who Terry Fader is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so before he won on America's Got Talent, he said he was at, I think it was a Marriott, and there was one 14-year-old kid in the audience. And he did his whole show for one kid, went home to his wife, said, I'm quitting the business. I can't do this. And his wife said, no, stick with it. If you really want to stick with it. Within a year or 2 later, he's on America's Got Talent, and he gets a $150 million contract in Vegas.
Wow.
So, but he said he had the one-person show, and that kid sat through the entire show.
Wow.
So, but yeah,
that's
everybody has
brutal.
it.
Yeah, they do. But that's the beauty of it. That's kind of where you go, oh, wait a minute, this isn't about me at all, right?
And you know, the people that really love their craft are people like Springsteen, who and Bon Jovi, who at the height of their career will go find a 100-person bar and go sing in a bar.
Can I tell you a little fun fact?
Howie Mandel does that.
Really?
He will go and get on a plane with a very good friend of mine, John Mendoza, and they'll just go do the really small comedy clubs. A lot of people don't know that because they think he's got this huge career on network, but no, he loves to go to those places and continue to refine his.
Ray Romano released a special, I think about 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, before COVID, so 2 years ago. And I've seen Ray Romano's special. He's just funny as heck.
Yeah, he is funny.
Before Everyone's Got Raymond. He did a special where in a night he went to 4 different comedy clubs, just showed up out of the blue and filmed it, and that was his special. And it was all new stuff, and it was great. And the audience had no idea it was coming, but they were underground places in New York that he would just go from one place to another, and that was his special. So, I think that was a great, great show.
Yes.
Bob?
Okay.
Jessica from Oregon says, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make you blush because you're not on camera, but she says, Bob, you have a great voice. Oh.
Shucks.
We can now, I would put the little hearts over your head, but you're not on camera. Have you ever, is this your first time on the radio or on mic?
Well, okay, so it's my first time on like a talk show kind of thing.
Yes.
It's my, I don't count singing because there's 9 other guys or 5 other guys with you, and you're, but I spent 20 years litigating cases. So my comment, and truth be told, I have immense stage fright. I suffer from fear of rejection. I suffer from stage fright. So if you put me up in front of a stage by myself, in front of 1,000 people, I go nuts. Put me behind keyboards where I have something to hide from behind and I'm playing music that I know I'm going to play, fine. But I couldn't go up and do public speaking. With the exception of, and I would tell people, I can speak with up to 15 people. That's 12 people in a box, a judge, a clerk, and a bailiff.
Interesting.
And then you can't shut me up. Because I believe in what I'm saying. I have a very hand-flailing way of talking. My voice inflections go up and down. And I have seen lawyers literally give their closing argument reading from a page and monotonic, monosyllabic reading. Like, how can you do that?
Yeah.
I've had judges say, counsel, you can sit when you close your case. I said, no, I can't. It's the old joke, you to keep an Italian quiet, you tie his arms behind his back.
Right.
I can't give a closing argument. I can't even ask questions sitting down. I have to, and I was raised Socratic. I was in law school. You got up, you answered your question, then you sat back down. But I see these lawyers that they just, they're not even looking at the witness. And I'll tell you a funny story. I had an arbitration, and I forget what the case was about. My client had broken her arm in some place when we were suing somebody, and the opposing counsel was questioning her witness. Now, in an arbitration, you're sitting around a conference table. So you get the arbitrator at the head of the table, you have counsel and party on one side and counsel and party on the other side. And I'm watching the arbitrator and I'm watching counsel, and counsel's reading from a script, asking questions, and her client is looking down, reading answers. They're not looking at the arbitrator. And I'm looking at the arbitrator not paying attention. So I get the arbitrator's attention and I start showing her photos and showing everything. The arbitrator didn't hear a word they said. There's no record, there's no transcript. So in the end, we got a pretty good award. And I'm thinking this idiot lawyer never looked up once to see her audience. And that's the idea. Now, the flip side from that is I'm not very good at reading people. In the jury, I had a jury trial. Well, yeah, obviously. I had a jury trial in Santa Monica, and there was this, it was a Korean guy, and he was just in my pocket. There was nothing I could say where he didn't shake his head, and he's with me the whole way. 5 days of trial, I'm thinking, this guy's going to get back there, and he's going to send this thing my way. We come out, and we got a verdict, and at the end, they pull the jury, and it was 11-1 in my favor, and he was the guy against me. And I went outside, and sometimes you're allowed to go out and talk to the juries. I was talking to the jury. I go, I thought that guy loved me. He goes, he hated you. He hated every word you said. When he got back in the jury room, he had nothing to be about. But he kept nodding at me, and I totally misread him. And he was the foreman of the jury. He said he was the guy against me. I'm like, man, did I misread that one?
I'm just nodding, going.
Yeah, but he was still. He's nodding his head, going, "You son of a gun, I hate you." And I can't wait to get back there.
Interesting.
So it's funny, but to bring it around full circle, I can talk in front of a few people.
Yeah.
But I don't need to be on TV. I have been on TV twice. But it's both like Good Day LA I was on as an attorney when a case came out and I had to discuss the case, Jessica adoption case. But it's just not what I want to do.
I gotcha. So. Well.
Besides, being a disembodied voice
Jessica
in the background.
had a little bit of a, crush on your voice.
Being a disembodied voice in the background gives me a lot of freedom.
Okay.
So. All right. Mark from New York. To Cory, or Bob, but to Cory. I crossed my name off. What's your most embarrassing moment?
Gosh. Oh, gosh. I got to pick one now, because Lord knows I've had so many. Oh my gosh, that's a good question. Embarrassing moment.
Your third and most embarrassing moment. The embarrassing moment that comes
right now because I have so many. I literally have so many.
I'll tell you mine, and then you can go.
Yeah.
We talked about this actually last night. I between marriages had about 8 or 9 years or 10 years, and I was bored one Super Bowl, so I called up a buddy of mine, Ryan, who always throws a Super Bowl party. And I said, "Are you doing a party this year?" Yes. I went over to Ryan's house, and I get there, and I remember looking around and thinking, "Wow, there are a lot of pretty women here. I mean, really pretty women here." I'm like, I can't believe, I've known Ryan for so long. And we sit there, and I meet this guy. We're talking on the couch, and I put money in the betting pools, and I grab a drink and everything else. And we start watching a game, and how do you know Ryan? Blah, blah, blah. So after the first quarter, I get up, go outside, and I'm looking around. I go, I can't find Ryan or whatever. And all of a sudden, it hits me. Well, this isn't Ryan's house. I was 2 blocks down from Ryan's house, and I had to go to it. So I left as fast as I can, ran to Ryan's house.
You are hilarious.
Walked in. They go, "Where were you?" I'm like,
"Oh my god!"
The party, the Super Bowl party. They had balloons and everything.
Oh my god!
And I walk in, and I had actually won one of the squares of the betting pool. So then it was like, "Do we go back?" And then 3 of my friends said, "Yeah." We all went back, and I got my money and stuff. But I literally sat there for like 35, 40 minutes, not invited to a party. And now, as I think about it, the age group is probably about 10 or 15 years younger than the age group over at Ryan. That's why all the pretty girls were there. I'm like, oh, okay. So I basically inadvertently crashed a Super Bowl party.
I love those kind of moments, though. I think one of the ones that stand out for me is, I have several, again. One of my first auditions was for Disneyland. And I didn't know how to audition at that moment.
As one of the characters?
No.
Oh.
No, just it was a Disneyland commercial.
Oh, commercial.
And I was my first audition, big audition. I had done, plays up north and stuff, but I had just come to LA and I was like, this is my very first audition. And I'm in this room and I'm not knowing what to expect. And they brought 5 of us in at a time. So I'm like, oh, really sweating it out. Because I'm like, I can't even do this in front of myself. Like now I have 5 people that I don't know. I have to do this audition. And so the camera guy goes, all right, so we're gonna just ask you guys a couple questions, and I was first. And so they said, slate your name. And I just said, my name is Cory Oliver, and they wanted me to do the whole thing. And when they say slate, they want you to give your profiles. It's a whole thing.
Did you know what that meant?
No. I was just, hi, I'm Cory Oliver. And that was it. And everyone's looking at me like, you gotta turn right, you gotta turn left, right? And so I'm just like, and he's like, yeah, can you turn right? So the guy's talking me through it, and he says to me, so tell us what your favorite ride at Disneyland is. It's a Disneyland commercial. And again, in my head, I was like, thinking the Matterhorn. And I say, Magic Mountain. It's a whole other theme park, Bob.
Yes. Not too far away.
Not too far away. And I was just like, oh. I literally was like, oh. And then the guy's like, okay. And so then they go to like the other 4 people in the room, and I'm just going, oh, how did I do? What did I had cotton balls in my mouth. And they were like, oh, it's, whatever, and the toad, and giving all these really unique, fun answers. And I leave there and I get to my car and I was just crying. I was stupid. And I get home. By the time I got home, I booked the commercial.
Good for you.
Honestly, they probably thought, this girl is so... I can't believe she said a whole other theme park.
Yeah.
So that was one of my very most embarrassing moments.
They say, by the way,
which is on camera somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
It's living with your God's Not Dead speech.
Right.
They say a lot of producers and directors like that kind of stuff. And one of the stories I have heard is Danny DeVito, when he auditioned for Taxi. He walked in the room, and he was an unknown person at the time. And he walked in, and it was around a table or something. And he said, before we start, I have one question. And he throws the script on the table. Who wrote this piece of crap, or whatever it is? And they all started laughing. He had him rolling, and that's how he got the job as Louis on Taxi.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just think, it was very embarrassing in the moment. It really was, and it sticks out now. But sometimes you just got to roll with it. And somewhere I am on Splash Mountain on camera, going down with my family that was cast in a Disneyland commercial.
You think they ever run it, or?
They did run it. It was years ago, but what I would love is wouldn't it be cool if we could find the audition? Because I can't even imagine my face. It was just so humiliating for me because I was in the room, and again, I was dyslexic, and so I was thinking Matterhorn, and I said Magic Mountain. So there you have it.
There's 2 things I want to be. I want there to be in the world. One is, if you do an audition like that, you should get a copy of it.
Right?
Right. Not, you can't publish it or anything else, but you should be able to, because that's your memories and stuff.
Right.
The other one is, they have IMDb. What they don't have is IMDb for commercials.
Yeah.
And there's so many times where I see an actor or actress in a commercial and go, who is that? And it's not always on the internet. You always want to go, wait, who is that person? And including, there should be IMDb for extras. So when you see 20 people in the background, you should kind of know who those people are. But
well, another one of my most embarrassing moments, which is on camera somewhere out there, is I did a Bud Light commercial, and I'm a klutz by nature, and so right before they said action, one of the grips on the side, but where I have a scar on my elbow, and he looks at my scar and he says, "What happened to your elbow?" And I said, "Oh, I'll tell you. I'm kind of a klutz. I'll tell you after this take." And they say action, and I grab my 6 Bud Light bottles. And it's the one with the mouse.
Right, you're running from your apartment to his apartment or something.
Yeah, and I run around, I put the bottles down on the desk, and then they shoot the mouse in, and I grab the bottles, and I have to, I hit the door frame with the bottles, and the bottles were glass, and they just broke everywhere. And I fell out of frame, of course, and I was pregnant at the time, which nobody knew because it wasn't showing, but Um, but I know that they had played that over and over. Like it was just, it's one of those moments. And the guy says to me, "Oh, you really are a klutz, aren't you?" I was like, "Yeah," but that was kind of embarrassing. Most of my moments are on camera.
And yeah, well, we're going to put that commercial. We have a copy of it, right?
Yes.
That commercial will show right now.
Really? It's go time.
Hey. That creepy mouse with the goggles is back in my apartment.
Really?
Can I hang here?
Absolutely. With a great taste that will fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light. I used to be a car racer.
That was a good commercial. I liked it. It was, with the guy, what do you call it? Slingshotting the mouse in there. It was a great.
Yeah. It was the top 25 commercials.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a Super Bowl one or?
Yes, it was a top 25, and it was fun, and I loved that. It was, Bud Light, they were amazing to work for, and they sent me a nice letter after, and they're just a great company.
Get them to be a sponsor.
Yeah, right. Bud Light. But yeah, it was embarrassing.
I don't know of any podcasts that have alcoholic beverage sponsors.
I don't think so.
Think there's a rule against it?
I don't know. Actually, that's a good question.
If not, we'd be the first.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark from New York. That was a really good question. Okay, so Kevin from where is Montecito? Oh, Montecito.
Montecito.
That's
up north
in Santa Barbara. That's not that far.
Oh,
Montecito.
I was thinking San Francisco. Yeah, okay, Montecito.
Montecito.
Yeah, Montecito. Yes.
Yeah.
That's where my daughter lives. I should know that. Well, around where she lives.
To Bob. It doesn't say to Bob, but I like to say that because you've been saying to Cory.
Doesn't say to Cory either. Is that it?
Bob.
The questions I don't want to ask. That must be for Cory.
I see. Bob, do you golf and play any sports?
I do. I am, as my father says, jack of all trades, master at none. I've played all sports growing up. So when I grew up, I went to public school the first 8 years, but was always in a country club at night. So the country club sports are golf, tennis, and swimming. So I swam since I was 3. I played golf since I was 4, and I've played tennis on and off through there, which I'll give you a great tennis story in a minute. But okay, so a great tennis story and great golf story. I played golf in juniors all the way through every summer, and then on the golf teams in school and stuff. And I'm not sure if I told this story before on air, but there was a time where my brother, sister, and I were each in the championship flights of our respective age group, and championships were on a Sunday because, of course, it was closed on Monday. So my mother said to my brother, "Go take your brother and sister to church. Go play your tournaments. Good luck." So my brother and I dropped my sister off at church because we don't go to church. I was 10, he was 16, my sister was 14. And my sister goes to church, and we tooled around in the car, went to 7-Eleven, got Slurpees, whatever. Came back down, picked her up, went to go to our tournament. My sister won, and we both lost. And about a month later, my mom found out about us not going to church. And she tells the story to everybody she knows. She goes, "I'm just saying, maybe if you're going to church, your sister went to church, your sister won." And it was just, yeah. My tennis, actually I have 2 tennis stories. My tennis stories, I've never been a great tennis player, but I played tennis. So I was in college, and I was a senior, and there was a freshman girl who was kind of cute, and I knew she played tennis. I said, "Come on, let's go play tennis." And she goes, I said, "I'll tell you what, we'll make a bet." I said, "If you win, I'll drive you and your friends around for a month. If I win, you go out with me." So in my opinion, I win either way. So we go there, and now all of a sudden it got to be this big tournament with my friends, and my frat and her sorority was all there. So we're at this court in the clubhouse, and we're hitting the ball back and forth, and I'm like, "Oh, this chick's pretty good. Okay, maybe this will be a good game." No way did I think she could ever, I'm twice the size of her. I'm going to hit the ball as hard as I can. I'm going to serve as best I can. I said, "Here, you can serve first." I line up for the serve. I didn't even see the ball. It's literally, you can't see me on camera, but I was facing forwards in my ready position, and the ball went by me, and I didn't even flinch. It was that fast.
Are you serious?
My entire fraternity fell off the stands laughing. Oh. Then I go, okay, and I walk over to the ad court, and I'm like, "All right, let's go," and bam, second thing. She beat me. I think I got 2 points in the whole set, and I might have hit the ball 4 times. Every time she hit the ball, it was like a half inch over the net, full. Then I find out she's like third ranked in the state,
I love her.
And like, you didn't tell me that. She goes, so what? So, but that was,
There you have it. She schooled you in tennis.
yeah, she absolutely schooled me. So.
Love her, whoever she is.
I'm trying to, I hate to say it, I
That's
can't
good.
remember her
That's
name.
so great.
But I drove her around for a month, and we dated for a couple months, and then I graduated.
Huh.
I didn't do any other questions, so let's see, where are we? We got plenty of time. Got to
I
read
mean, you
another one.
didn't do any other questions. I mean, you didn't.
I
get
didn't
any?
write down any other questions for you or for me. I had those 5. Oh, I have a question for you.
You do, or Bob from
I do.
Westlake does?
No, I'll save it for next time.
No, don't ask me now.
No, because it's something I want to do. Okay, so let me ask you this. So, if we are talking on the phone, I call you on the phone, and we get disconnected. Do I call you back, you call me back? Or doesn't it matter?
Well, I think I don't know if there's actual protocol on this, but if you actually called me to begin with, then I guess you would call me back, or I don't know. I always call the person back because I think, well, I don't want them to think that I hung up.
Okay, that's my
So-
thought, is I always call the person back because I don't want them to hang up. Apparently, I'm wrong. Because I got chewed out by Irina the other day because we were talking, I was up north, and she had called me, and the phone cut out, so I immediately called her back, and it went right to, voicemail.
I'm not getting involved.
I
in
wait,
this.
she calls me back. Why would you call me back? I called you. The rule is whoever places the call calls back, because so what had happened was I had called her, and she had called me at the same time, so they got crossed, and she was getting upset, and she goes, everybody knows that rule.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Irina.
I didn't know that was a rule.
Okay. Wow.
So then I'm driving home last night, and I'm talking to her, and the phone cuts out. And now it's like 2 or 3 minutes. I can't remember whether I called her or whether she called me. So I'm
my God.
literally shaking. I'm afraid to call her back because if she called
Constantly in
me,
hot water.
I
It's
know.
unbelievable.
I'm like, so finally, it was after like 2 minutes ago. Okay, guess I missed it. So I placed the call because she sat there waiting for me to call her back.
Just always call her back. And by the way, happy anniversary. I know it's your
Thank you,
anniversary,
thank you.
so happy anniversary to you.
Well, my theory to get out of trouble is, it's like the same as my theory on gambling. You want to make money gambling? I have a foolproof gambling system. You come with me. Whatever I bet on, you bet the opposite. You'll never lose.
Okay.
So my trick with Irene is whatever I would normally want to do, I do the opposite, and then I'm not in trouble. My instincts are always wrong.
I have a question.
Okay.
And it's from Carell
Okay.
from San Diego, actually. Who would be your greatest get on the show? That's for both of us. Who would you want to be on the
I
show?
assume.
They said actually what celebrity, but
So living
I'm just
out
saying
there.
who in general.
Okay, so somebody I'd want to talk to, or somebody who I think would be great ratings for the show. The great ratings for the show would be somebody like Trump, or Ben Shapiro, or Candace Owens, or somebody like that. But somebody who I'd want to talk to, dead would be Oppenheimer or Einstein, but living would be, I can't think of his name, but there's a scientist who recently, in the last couple of years, proved gravitational waves. And what it is the theory was that gravity actually folds space, and space actually goes. So they built this machine in the desert in either Arizona, Colorado, or some state, and it went 4 miles in one direction and then 4 miles 90 degrees in the other direction, and they would shoot a laser back and forth and time how long it takes the laser to get back in like the millions of nanoseconds. And then and they had it for years without any kind of result. And then something happened where the times were different. And what that meant is that the Earth was like a wave. Like an earthquake with the ground waves.
You've lost me, Bob.
Okay.
I mean,
Anyway, they proved that it was a scientific discovery. It was the biggest discovery science has ever had since the Earth was round. But it proved Einstein's theory, it proved gravitational waves, and they found out that there was some super cosmic event, like the explosion of a star or something that happened billions of years ago, and the wave was just getting to us. But the Earth literally rippled for a microsecond. And that was a big, so I would want somebody like that who I could sit through and talk about science for just eons. And I think that'd be a great show.
So you are you know what? Bill Nye, the science guy, you kind of look like him too. Back to your old question.
Thanks.
Bill Nye's cute.
Bill Nye, I used to
Oh.
love Bill Nye. I kind of fell out when he went all climate-y on me
Mm-hmm.
because I have a different opinion of him than he has on climate. In his opinion, I'm a climate denier because I don't agree with his opinion. But that being said, anybody who likes a good debate, watch the debate between Bill Nye and Ken Ham about creationism. And Ken Ham's from Australia, and he's a very big creationist. And they let Ken Ham speak first about why the Bible is true, every word is said, and the world is 6,000 years old. Bill Nye, within his first 5 or 10 minutes, just destroyed him. And Ken stuck to his guns and really said things. But Bill Nye is absolutely, he's not saying there's no God. He's saying the world is not 6,000 years old.
But why would you destroy him?
Because
we're all about unity on this show.
I know, but Bill Nye took everything that Ken Ham said and said, this is why it's not true.
I gotcha.
Ken Ham said the world is 6,000 years old. We found a tree in Sweden that's 9,000 years old. I mean, there's all these evidentiary facts that we can do. But with facts and science, he just laid it out and said, no, it's not the way it is. But he's a great, great debater. I just think in the last couple of years, he's kind of taken a position, which is fine to take the position. But he has said, if you don't believe my position, I don't even want to talk to you anymore. And if I'm not wrong, he even talked about people being put in jail or people being losing their licenses if they don't agree with his position on climate change. By the way, on that story, they just came out, a teacher in, I want to say South Carolina, if that's the right place, at Christian school, the trial started with George Floyd and the police officers. And she said to her class, which is a true statement, the cause of death has not been determined yet. The school fired her for saying, how dare you say such a thing? When it is true, everybody agrees, the cause of death has not been determined yet. And that's the point of the trial, is to determine what the cause of death was. And she just immediately got fired because she stated her opinion.
I just actually read something about that to this point. That juror number 36, I don't know if this is actual factual or not, notes that if George Floyd had complied with officers, this wouldn't have happened, selected for the jury.
That's odd, because that would probably be a grounds for a recusal or dismissal.
Right?
Yeah. You don't want anybody on the jury who has a predetermined opinion.
Right. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
How would you not know about this case, though?
Well, you can know about the facts of the case, but you don't want to have an opinion of the case. I mean, in today's social media, it's impossible to find a jury that doesn't know about.
Right.
A lot of the jury members, or the pool of jury, said, I don't want to be on this jury because I don't want to get the threats, I don't want my house damaged, I don't want my wife threatened.
Sure.
And that's a big deal. But there's going to be a right either way.
I think we should do what we do. And I would like to know how you see yourself. I have a question for you. How you see, and should I do the Rorschach test? Rorschach on you?
Okay.
Bob, describe yourself in 3 words, so our audience knows.
It's impossible to describe myself in 3 words without me sounding conceited. But I honestly do believe this about myself.
Okay.
I don't want to say the word giving, but I will do anything that anybody asks me to do, and I will feel bad if I can't do it. So the word would be giving. A hyphenated one is quick-witted. And I would think whatever the adjective is for investigation, like investigative or I question everything I see.
Yes.
And I have learned a very long time ago that 99.5% of the things that anybody knows, they know because they've been told by somebody else. Your sense of reality from what you witness is less than 1%. So anytime somebody tells me something, my first mind is really, and I always want to question.
You always say, really?
Yeah. And the other thing is, and especially going through law school and stuff, my mind immediately thinks to an exception. So when somebody said, it's always like this, there's nothing I can't give you an exception to. I'm like, my mind just works that way. Well, what if this happens? What if this happens? And my daughter's the same way. I'll say, listen, don't ever do that. Well, what if I'm driving and there's the only way to save my life is to jump out of the car? Can I jump out of the car then? Okay,
we're like Oscar and Felix. We're super opposite, but yet the same.
Wait, am I the Oscar or am I the Felix?
I'll
give you a hint.
Okay. Yeah.
No.
That's funny.
I'd say about 90% of our audience are not going to get that.
Yeah. No.
So I'm gonna show you what it means right here.
Look, I'm done with the honking. Felix, do something about it.
I do need the Rorschach test, though, to do that for you. I don't know where that is.
Cut.
I'm trying to get through this test to get to 25 as fast as possible. So I'm literally going to include ours in this so that we can get rid of this game and get a new game.
Well, no, what we'll do is we'll get different images.
Yeah, like hearts and butterflies and things.
Well, then they're going to say it's a heart. It's a butterfly.
That's fine, but these are like, ooh. Okay, so this is the Rorschach test with Mr. Bob.
I see two fairies with wings facing each other down. That's serious.
Oh, you do? Sorry.
That's serious. That's what I see. So you're looking at two fairies looking at each other. The wings are coming out.
Oh, yeah. That's
And I was
cute.
just watching,
You're right.
what's that show? Fake, about the fairies.
Oh, yeah.
I just saw those 2 episodes. It's obviously 2 elephants sitting on something in the middle, like like a merry-go-round kind of thing.
Okay.
But who doesn't see that? 2 Tibetan monks playing patty cake. That is actually demonic, but what it is, it's the smoke coming up from no, it's not demonic. It's the smoke coming up around a castle in the middle, and it's the smoke like who was Angelina Jolie with the horns? The character she played in the Disney films. Begins with an M.
Oh, yeah. I forget. Yeah.
I can't, but it's her character, like that. Where
Sorry,
comes
Angelina.
smoke and goes, and that is a clown face.
Okay. Wonderful. Those are really great, Bob. And so tell me, just so we can finish this little round of questioning, who your celebrity crush is.
You're gonna be mad because it's not you.
No, I'm not going to be mad. Trust me. It's like, that would be weird. You're like a brother.
Yeah, it would be weird, wouldn't it?
So, thank you.
Now or back? I'll give you back then. When I grew up, it was Christy Brinkley.
Yeah.
And it all stemmed from her
Gorgeous.
Sports Illustrated, and
Yeah.
she was just a
Beautiful.
very gorgeous woman to me.
Yeah. She still is. So beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. Okay.
All right. Anything else? You want to show the audience what we did to protect the table from you?
The table? You mean the do not bang the table?
No, the bottles.
Oh, so Bob has glued these down onto our table because I am a constant. Every time I come in, I sit my chair in and I hit the table, and everything flies off the table. So he has literally glued it down with what's it called?
Oh, alien tape. It's the
Alien
best
tape.
ever.
Alien tape, but you could probably get it do it yourself or Home Depot.
It's also online, Alien Tape. They're not one of our sponsors, but I'm going to put them as a sponsor. They are great.
I mean, so great.
Half of our studio is held up by Alien Tape.
But let me ask you, if you take this off the table, is it going to rip the varnish off the table?
No, not at all.
So that's a good thing about alien
Yeah,
tape.
it's exactly like those 3M things for pictures.
Right.
You pull, but this is it just and
Yes.
the interesting stuff about this Alien Tape. Why don't you be one of our sponsors? You can take the piece of tape, wash it, and it becomes sticky again.
Oh, wow, it's reusable.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
actually genius.
Yes.
And you
You
didn't
boiled
think
down what I
about
said
it.
to one word. That was very good.
Well,
You can also tell them that I put a sign up that says "Don't bang the table."
there's signs everywhere. We have a green room with just one chair, just one. But I do want to thank all of these wonderful people for writing in and paying attention and listening. That really does blow my mind that people.
They can't hear you.
Huh?
Your
Oh,
mic's
I
behind
do
your
wanna-
head.
I do want to
Not
thank
right at the mic.
all of you, the wonderful people.
for writing in and listening, and all of our listeners so far. I mean, I'm just grateful for it.
We've gotten 1,500 subscribers. We've
really
had,
grateful.
knock on wood, 140,000 views on YouTube alone, plus all the ones on the podcast. So we're getting there.
Yeah, if there's anything that
Only
people want,
990,947 to go.
I know. And then 1 million, we're going to reveal Bob's identity, and he's going to give us 5-minute stand up. And I might even sing a song.
I know exactly how I'm going to do it.
What?
I'm going to do it animated.
No, you can't do it animated. You have to do your whole.
It'll be me as an animated character.
No, you have You have to come on camera. You have to come on camera. That's the whole thing. 1 million.
Okay.
I'm holding you to this.
Okay.
And yes, that's it.
Is there a way to get rid of subscribers so I get the million? I drop it down.
Stop. You did, and I rebuke those words. Anyway, thank you for joining in on the Coriolis effect. We've had a really amazing month of just laughter and fun, and some great people,
some soul
great
searching.
guests, and some soul searching, and great guests, and we really do. If you want to come on the show, please email us at
Cory.thecorioliseffect@gmail.com.
yeah, and just let
Or
us
whatever's
know.
written underneath you if I got it wrong.
We'd love to talk to you. Zoom in or in studio. We'd love to connect with you.
Great.
And we thank you all for
And
tuning
who
in.
we want is Graham Allen.
Graham Allen, we're coming for you. Graham Allen or Joe Rogan? Joe Rogan, I've got just one question for you. And I'd love to ask you in person.
On air.
On
Well,
air.
he'll be in Texas, but.
On air. That's okay. I'll fly to you. Yeah. Anyway, we love you all, and we can't thank you enough, and we look forward to
And Ben Shapiro. We want to get him in the show too.
and go on.
Yeah.
Go
And Sean
on.
Hannity and Tucker Carlson. And I'd get Don Lemon, and I'd get either one of the Cuomo
Quickly,
brothers in
though,
here.
I mean, not to be like too controversial, but like, and I don't know what happened, but did you see?
But Don Lemon?
No, Pierce Morgan.
Oh, Pierce
walk
Morgan,
off the
yeah.
set.
Did I
You
see
got
it? I sent
a
you the
little
link.
upset. You did send me the link. This is true. Yes, Bob, you did.
He walked off based on Meghan Markle. And now, what I heard is
He came back though, didn't he?
No.
He's done?
He apologized. He quit the show.
Oh.
I had heard that from some newscast that Meghan Markle had. So Pierce Morgan made his comments about Meghan Markle on Monday, and that by the next day or that night, Meghan Markle had lodged a formal complaint with the, I think it's called the IGC or whatever the network in England was, or in Britain was, and lodged a complaint against him. And the commentator was saying, she's really the one who's got no power when she's trying to get the guy fired. And he believes that Pierce Morgan would have been fired anyway. But Pierce Morgan then put out a tweet afterwards, which I think is great, and said, I have to the effect of, I have thought about what I said, and I still agree with what I said before. He said, thank you very much. I'm now going to go be alone with my thoughts.
Wow.
And so he did not back down, where the banjo player from Mumford Sons, you heard about that, right?
Yeah.
He said he likes this book about the guy who talked about Antifa. He came out and apologized, and what's going on is once you apologize, then you're fired. So you're going to be fired anyway. You might as well just not apologize. So.
Yes.
Or he took time off, is what he said. Okay, before we go, I have one more question from Frank Stallone of Westlake. Where's he live now? He lives in West Hollywood. No, I'm trying to think where, like in Westwood.
Westwood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I believe it's
in
in Westwood. He always asks, what's the deal with the lips behind you?
The lips, I think he thought they were the Rolling Stones, actually, but
I don't know
Well, the
if
Rolling
you
Stones
can
has a big tongue coming out of it, too.
Yes, but you can't see because my head is like always in front of it. But those are actually my lips.
They're that big.
Yeah, right. My business partner and best friend, Tara, and I have a company called Beverly Hills Balm, and we were trying to think of a seal for our balm. And I said, let's just like make it a kiss or something. And she said, yes, kiss a piece of paper. So I kissed a piece of paper, and then she gave it to her niece, who's a fantastic artist, and she colored it.
This beautiful color. It's really, really pretty color. And
so we shrunk it down, and that's the seal for my lip balm. Those are actually my lips.
And then how did you get that?
I actually, a company, this metal prints, it's on metal, you can't really tell,
Right.
but it's this metal print company who are fantastic. They printed it out for me.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's funny. Yeah, they kind of, while I'm sitting in front of it, it does look kind of like that Rolling Stone, lips, but those are actually mine.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't remember the name of the album. I think if I'm, God, I don't know if it was the one with "Start Me Up" or the other one, but anyway, yeah, it does look like it.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
that's a great question, Frank Stallone.
Okay, anything else?
No, I guess just thank you for joining us all.
All right. And we're out.
Hi guys, I'm Corey Oliver, and thank you for watching The Coriolis Effect. We hope you enjoyed the previous episode. Here are some more episodes you might enjoy. Hit the subscribe button below, and have a great day.